When the Bible says God's creation is good, what does that really mean? Is everything God made perfect? This is a huge question, especially when we look around and see natural disasters, sickness, and so much pain. It can be really confusing. But understanding what good means in Genesis is super important because it shapes our view of God, ourselves, and our place in the world. Let's step back in time. In the ancient world, most creation stories were full of conflict and chaos. Gods fought each other, and the world was often a messy, dangerous accident born from their struggles. But the Genesis account is completely different. It's calm, ordered, and intentional. Over and over again, the text repeats a powerful phrase, "And God saw that it was good." This wasn't just a casual comment, it was a radical statement. It declared that the world wasn't a mistake, but a masterpiece, created with purpose by a benevolent God. This perspective set ancient Israel apart from its neighbors, whose gods were often unpredictable and hostile. The God of Genesis created a reliable, orderly, and beneficial world for humanity to thrive in. So, let's dive into the biblical answer. Genesis chapter 1 is like a drumbeat of divine approval. After creating light, land, seas, plants, sun, moon, and living creatures, God steps back and says, "It was good," 7 times. And then, after creating humanity and finishing His work, the verdict is even stronger. God saw all that He had made, and it was very good. This is the grand finale in Genesis 1:31. The word good here in Hebrew, tov, means more than just morally right. It means complete, functional, fitting its purpose, and beautiful. It signifies that everything was working exactly as God designed it to. Now, this doesn't mean creation was static or that it couldn't be corrupted. The goodness was in its original design and function. Theologically, creation is good because it's a direct reflection of God's own character, His wisdom, His power, His creativity, and His love for order and beauty. The brokenness we see today wasn't part of that original design. It entered the picture later through sin and rebellion, which disrupted that perfect harmony. But the core, the essence of creation itself, was and remains inherently good. We see this truth echoed throughout the Bible. Psalm 19 verse 1 says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of His hands." Creation is like a giant billboard pointing to its magnificent Creator. The Apostle John tells us in his Gospel, "Through Him all things were made. Without Him nothing was made that has been made." This highlights that Jesus, the Word, was the agent of creation, infusing it with divine wisdom and purpose. And in Colossians 1:16, Paul reinforces this, saying, "For by Him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible. All things were created by Him and for Him." Everything had a purpose, nothing was an accident. It was all designed to function within God's good plan. These verses together build a powerful case for the inherent goodness and theological significance of the created world. So, what are the big theological takeaways from this? First, the goodness of creation tells us about God Himself. He isn't a chaotic or distant force. He is wise, orderly, and intentional. Every star, every cell, every mountain was crafted with purpose. Second, it tells us about ourselves. Being made in God's image, in the midst of a very good creation, means we are designed to reflect that goodness in how we live, how we treat others, and how we care for the world. Third, it clarifies the origin of evil. Sin doesn't come from a flaw in creation, but from a choice, a rebellion against God's good design. Finally, understanding creation's goodness is foundational for so many other important doctrines, like God's ongoing care for the world, our responsibility to be good stewards, and the ultimate hope we have for the restoration of all things through Christ. This isn't just abstract theology, it has a huge impact on our daily lives. When we truly believe creation is good, it changes everything. We start to see the environment not as something to be exploited, but as a beautiful and intricate system that reflects God's wisdom, something we are called to protect and care for. We begin to value human life and relationships on a deeper level, recognizing that every person is a precious part of God's good creation. We learn to live with a sense of gratitude and stewardship, knowing we've been entrusted with this incredible world. And even when we face the brokenness, the pain, and the suffering, remembering creation's original goodness gives us hope. It reminds us of God's true character and His ultimate plan for restoration. So, to wrap it all up, yes, the Bible portrays creation as inherently good. This goodness is a direct reflection of God's own character, His wisdom, His order, and His divine purpose. Theologically, it tells us that our world is meaningful, that human life has profound dignity, and that God's design is ultimately trustworthy. And on a practical level, it calls us to be caretakers of this good world and to honor God in every aspect of our lives. Thank you for watching. I encourage you to study the Scriptures for yourself, to live responsibly as a steward of His creation, and to always remember that the God who made this incredible world saw that it was very good, and He invites you to live in and reflect that goodness every single day. If this was helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. See you next time.